Nosferatu, or talking about SpongeBob, who was flickering the lights? Oh, Nosferatu. I had to teach Dave that.
I didn't know what that was.
But yeah, Nosferatu, originally released in 1922. We are getting a remake of said movie. And Dave, what are your initial thoughts of this?
Fun fact, me and Adam watched this movie together.
We did.
For all the top tier film students out there, what did you think of this classic, iconic start of the horror franchise, Adam?
Of the just in general?
The original movie that we watched.
Like my review of it from the first time.
What did you think of the original movie? The iconic, the groundbreaking, the beloved, Academy Award winning introduction into horror. What did Adam think of the movie?
But like, if I was back in the 1922, okay, here's the thing. I thought about this today a little bit as I was going through work and stuff. Why were people back then so scared so easy? Like, that movie was not scary in any sense to me. And I get it. I don't know.
Yeah, the movie itself is not scary right now. And like most people, and that's why I say, like, and guys, if you're a film student or something, you know what I mean? And I'm not throwing shade on you, but like, I think film students and like people that really love film and are like really in the space kind of have an appreciation for this. But the general population, if they were to see Nosferatu today, they would be in the same position that Adam is. It's like, what is this? Is not good. Like, it's just too much stuff that's so outdated that it clearly doesn't hold up anymore. And you really have to have a certain appreciation for what films were coming out at the time. And also, like, I'm not like, I know this is like a great iconic movie and it's beloved and everything like that, but even back in 1922, this wasn't like a top tier movie. I mean, this was kind of a B movie that they kind of just stole the idea of Dracula and turned and switched a couple things around. Like, it was never meant to be this like iconic thing that it turned into. So I understand where Adam's coming from, and but I do understand why it's also kind of a cult classic, because back in the day, this movie, like I said, was kind of a ripoff of Dracula. So a lot of like the copies of this movie were ordered to be destroyed and stuff like that. So like not a lot kind of made it through, and then to find footage and put the films all together and stuff like that. I get it why it's popular now and why it's, kind of iconic, but I don't know. For the general population of people, like if you go back and watch 1922 Nosferatu, you're going to be disappointed.
Very disappointed.
Yeah, very disappointed.
And I'm gonna have a hot take right here. I'm sorry, Dave, and all the listeners out there. Scary movies and I'm gonna do it. Okay, scary movies and the horror genre, to me, I don't think it's all that scary, to be honest, and I think it's kind of bad. Like, I think, but there's such a like people love being scared. I'm somebody that like I don't get scared in scary movies, like, at all.
Hold on. We gotta cool you down because that's a hot take.
I mean, I just don't think they're scary, and maybe it's because I'm not letting myself be scared, and I'm like always trying to figure out what's coming next, and like most of the time it's like, oh, this is gonna be a jump scare, and then and it's a jump scare. You know what I mean?
There's really two different types of people that enjoy horror movies, I think, and there's the people that enjoy getting scared and really get that like kind of feeling, right? And then there's the people that don't really get scared per se, but it's more of just like this, I don't know, it's just like this love of like dark things.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I guess the reason why, like, maybe growing up I didn't have the sense of like watching scary movies for the plot. I'm watching because like I think it's trying to scare me. So maybe if I go in there with an open mind of like, oh, this story is going to be good, rather than, oh, this is just trying to scare me.
Yeah, like I don't go into horror movies thinking like this is going to be scary. You know what I mean? Like I've never watched a horror. The last time I watched a horror movie and was actually scared of it was like when I was a child and I watched The Exorcist. Like that was the last time where I was like scared. But like now I kind of watch horror movies just because I like that suspense and I like kind of like creepy things and I like, ghosts and witches and like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like I just kind of like that stuff. You know what I mean?
All right, I'm taking out the hot take of this
You
episode.
are leaving this hot take
Yeah.
in. You are leaving this
I
hot take
changed
in.
my mind. I should have like thought about this a little bit more as going through work because like I said, I don't know. I just think going to scary movies or being scared, like I don't like haunted houses either. Those don't scare me. Granted, I've never been to like each floor or something scarier. I've been to like local ones, but I
Yeah.
got kicked out of a few actually
I mean,
because like I'm like, oh, the guy slammed a machete over my head, and like I started poking it. I was like, oh, it's plastic, man. And he's like, all right, buddy, you gotta go. And so they kicked me out because I was like, this isn't scary. This is stupid.
the
And so
ruiner of Halloween fun, man.
I am a ruiner of Halloween fun. I apologize for all the Halloween and horror and scary people things. Like, it's just not for me.
Oh, it's okay. We'll give you a free pass. But
Yeah.
Okay. So Nosferatu. The thing about this trailer, we can go ahead and roll the
Okay, yeah.
trailer here. We talked about it a little bit. This is an unofficial adaptation of the 1922 movie, and I think there's a lot. There's a lot that there's a lot I want to talk about. I'm trying to think of a good place to start. Visually, I think the movie looks very, very well done, and I think that they're going to stay true enough to the original story where it makes sense. The one thing here though is like we talked about, this movie is super iconic. This movie has a big I don't know,
Like
high
following?
praise. Yeah, no, not following, but you know what I mean? Like it's high praise movie. This
Yeah.
is almost a movie that is like I kind of thought was an untouchable
Oh, I see
to
what you're
do a
saying.
remake of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like if somebody was like trying to do a remake of like The Godfather or something.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those movies that is like, I don't know if you should touch it. So the idea that they're even going for this is like kind of scary to me, but I don't know, also kind of cool because I'm excited to see, like you said, the original movie doesn't really hold up. I'm excited to see it brought into the next century and see what they can do with the title.
Right. And I think that's what's gonna bring people to watch this movie because like we said, it's not a movie that people watch nowadays for the heck of it. It's a film studio or film school kids watching it, and to me, like I felt like do you feel like it was straying away? Like just based off the trailer, I felt like it was kind of straying away from what the original was. It's making it seem like she's more possessed in this rather than like in the original. Was that the case? I don't quite remember.
Yeah, so I mean, and the thing here is it's really hard to compare, right? Because
Yeah.
it's hard to compare this movie to the 1922 movie
Mm-hmm.
with things that are going on in the movie because it's like, does she feel more possessed in this movie? Yeah, probably. But is
Right.
that like just the case of like the original 1922 movie, them not conveying that because
Yeah.
it was hard to do the acting. It's obvious if you guys don't know, the original movie is a silent movie. There's no voice dialogue. Like
Yeah.
it may have just been hard to like
Convey
really convey these points. You know what I mean? So it's really kind of hard to compare. Now, the one thing that I do think is a comparison of is William Dafoe's character. So William Dafoe's character, and this is where I think they might be going a little bit off the rails. William Dafoe's character, and I'm sorry, I have to look at my notes. Albin Eberhart von Franz. Now, in the original movie, that was not a character. In the original movie, this character's name was Bulwer. And basically what he is he's kind of like this, insight, kind of like has a lot of knowledge of vampires and stuff like that, where I think they might be going a little off the rails and steering away from the original story is like, I feel like you didn't bring in William Dafoe for no reason. Now, I know William Dafoe has a lot of supporting character roles, but a lot of William Dafoe's supporting character roles are really kind of like teetering on the line between like main characters and supporting characters. And I feel like William Dafoe might be a little bit more of a main character in this movie. And I'm kind of nervous that they're going to go like the Van Helsing route, where it's like, we have this original story of Nosferatu and everything else that's kind of going along with that from the original. But now we've introduced this element of like William Dafoe's a vampire hunter. And now we're going to throw that kind of weird stuff into it.
And you kind of get that sense from the trailer where you see people like with the pitchforks and the flames and yeah, him coming with some dialogue. I could see that. But at the same time, do you think adding him adds more depth and plot to the story? Because like we said, with the original, it was a silent film. There really wasn't much to be conveyed aside from Nosferatu really liked this girl and things like that.
I mean, I'm not against it. I think the purists are gonna have problems with it. So, because if you guys don't know, I'll tell you a little bit about the story. So basically, what's happening in this movie is Nosferatu is the vampire, and you don't know that he's a vampire until a little bit into the movie. But the way that the movie starts, is that the true main character, whose name is Thomas Hutter, is sent to Transylvania in order to he's selling property to this guy who is Count Orlok, ends up being the vampire. But he goes there and he's selling property. And the weird thing about it is the house that he's trying to sell this person is directly across the street from his own house, which is very, very strange. And when he's there getting him to sign the paperwork, that's where he kind of does some snooping and figures out he's a vampire. Anyway, Nosferatu ends up buying the house and coming back over to where Hutter lives, and ends up like falling in love with his wife. And this is where you're seeing this interaction in the trailer of like why this woman is possessed and stuff like that. She's being like kind of mentally courted by Nosferatu. So that's kind of like the official story. Now, like we talked about with Willem Dafoe, that plot was never in the original movie. This is an add-on plot. So again, I'm not opposed to it because, like Adam said, there's really not a lot of context in the original story, so it might have needed something like this to kind of beef it up. But also, we talked about it's like the purists are not going to be super excited about it, so it's a give take. It's a 50-50. I mean, it could work out amazing, or like people could really hate it.
I don't know. And truthfully, I think this, like you said, this is an untouchable movie. This is going to be a movie that's going to be not well received, even like for people that don't know what Nosferatu is. I think it's going to be a movie that kind of gets pushed off. Like, it's not that good. Like, I don't. I think it's just like another. Oh, it's a scary movie. It's not going to be like, wow, that scary movie really like top notch, like one of the best I've ever seen.
It's a weird choice, right? Because I don't know. I feel like Nosferatu is like it's iconic and people understand it, but I feel like the only people that are gonna want to see this are gonna be the people that know what the original movie is.
Yeah.
And there's not that many people out there right now
Right.
anymore that do.
Yeah.
Aside from like film students and stuff.
And us.
And us, yeah, because
And the only reason I really like knew it is because of the SpongeBob episode when he's flickering the lights. Nosferatu. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be one that's going to be. It's not going to break the box office. Like this isn't going to. I think this is just going to be a movie, like you said, purist or people that already know the story or know the movie are going to go watch it.
you ever seen Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp? This kind of gives me the same feel as Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. It's like, I don't know, they took a thing that was already a thing and then they're bringing it into, I don't know, it just has like that same vibe. No, don't get me wrong, Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp's a great movie. I like it. Like, I think it's good, but it's just giving me that same kind of vibe.
It's giving me the it's back to the conversation we always had. It's like nobody has original ideas anymore. That's really what it comes down to. Oh, let's see. We don't have any scary movie ideas right now. Let's go back in time. Okay, we've already done the 70s. We've done the 80s. 1922, a silent film of Nosferatu. That's gonna be perfect. Nobody will ever remember it, and it's gonna be great. We're gonna have an awesome story about Nosferatu in 2024.
I mean, yeah, it kind of feels that way. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, 102 years later, let's redo it. Let's remake it. It's the Beetlejuice of the 1920s.
Hey, take it easy with Beetlejuice.
No, I was saying as like they want that kind of level of excitement.
Yeah, they're clearly using the name here for excitement. I do think the one thing going for it, we got to talk about this. Bill Skarsgård is going to be Count Orlok. He's hot right now, coming off the back of a few things, namely Pennywise from It movies. I'm curious to see what he does. I really am. I'm curious to see if he plays this as a new character or if you're watching this movie and you're like, I feel like that's Pennywise. Like if he can kind of transition into a different horror genre and be a different horror character, or if like Bill Skarsgård horror is just kind of what he's done already.
Gotcha. Or like, yeah, like Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool in every movie, and Tom Holland is
Yeah,
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds just is Ryan Reynolds. Like, is
Yeah.
Bill Skarsgård just Bill Skarsgård, and it's the scary movie version of him? Because
Yeah.
if you really think about it, it's very easy for them to fall into being the same type of character with the same mannerisms and the same, like, especially the voice, man. If he starts doing like the Pennywise voice for Count Orlok, I'm like, that's gonna make it real bad.
That's so funny. I've been watching. I saw a video of like, oh, Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool in every movie, or and the same thing with like The Rock now. Like I see that sense with The Rock. Like he doesn't have much depth or like variation to him. We've had this conversation already.
Oh yeah,
before,
we
but-
talked about this. Kevin Hart is
Yeah.
Kevin Hart in every movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack
It's so
Black is
funny.
Jack Black in every movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
it's just
I don't know. This one, I think it might be a little different. I think with this character, I think it's gonna be more about the physical mannerisms with him, to be honest. Like that, I think that's what's gonna help sell Nosferatu over like Pennywise. Like I feel like that's more vocal. Like I can't imagine Nosferatu is gonna be really outspoken as a character. And kind of based off the trailer a little bit, like he's hiding in the shadows a little bit more and things like that.
he should be that way, right? He should be a little bit more mysterious and not kind of like up in your face, right? Also, that's, that could be just a predication of the time, right? Like it's like maybe in 1920, you saw in the 1922 movie, he was very reserved and very mysterious and very lurking in the shadows, but also he didn't have any dialogue. So it's like, I don't know. It's like this character exists, but you also kind of have a clean slate to work with, but not. It's a weird situation. You kind of have a clean slate to work with, but you gotta kind of stick to the source material because people would get upset. But like the source material doesn't give you a lot to go off of. I just don't know. There's a lot. I think I want this movie to be good, but I will say there is a lot that can go wrong.
I agree with that. A lot can go wrong, and just staying true. It doesn't have to necessarily stay true to the story, like the source material, in terms of like the overall plot. Like it's got to have the same like plot line in a way, but it needs more depth and bringing it to 2024. But I think the overall theme of the movie and the feel of it has to stay similar to the original. Because from there, I think that's where it's going to lose a lot of people. Like, okay, this movie sucks because, like, yes, it's called Nosferatu, but it doesn't stand for anything that the original was. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Nosferatu comes out December 25th. Real quick shout out, this does star Lily-Rose Depp, who is playing Ellen Winter, Johnny Depp's daughter. This is like her first actual kind of, I don't want to say real movie, but you know what I mean? This is like her first actual kind of like legit movie. Yeah, so curious to see how she does. Directed by Robert Eggers, who is known very well in the horror genre. If you're a fan of this movie, check it out. December 25th, Christmas Day.
Woo!
Did you ever go to a movie on Christmas?
No.
Yeah.
I have actually. I saw one of the I can't remember what Star Wars it was, but I saw Star Wars in theaters on Christmas Day.
Did you?
I did.
I've never been to a Christmas movie.
It's not like super popular to be honest, but at least I don't think it's super popular. I don't know why we went. It was literally like right after we did something. It's like, yeah, let's go watch a movie. So, yeah.
Maybe this year we go to the movies.